Frame hold photography.
Before I begin any painting project, my first step is to research references for inspiration. I have always loved the introduction scene of Assassin's Creed Revelations, and I wanted to use this beginning cinematic and sequence as inspiration and reference for my repaint. Comparing Ezio in this scene to the figure I have, there are some noticeable differences in his design, especially the insignia on his chest and the weapons on his belt. I didn't want to completely dismantle this figure to fix the belt, so instead, I used some green stuff to smooth out his chest so I could freehand paint the right pattern. With the green stuff applied, I primed the figure with the flat gray primer and started painting. I paint all my figures and miniatures with the same inside-out method, meaning I start with the areas closest to the figure's body, in this case Ezio's skin, and then work outwards. That way, I don't have to worry about accidentally painting over finished areas so much. For paints, I used a mixture of Army Painter, Citadel, and Apple Barrel colors and washes. As I painted Ezio's face, I also worked on his interchangeable hands, so that each part of the skin on the model would look roughly the same. Next, I worked on the areas around his head, like the cloth around his neck and his shoulder pads. Then it was on to the leather pieces of his outfit, and his cloth belt. To get accurate looking leather, I combined several shades of brown, and continually went over these areas with washes and dry brushing. This was all to boost the contrast and variations in these areas. Lastly, I painted Ezio's robes. Mixing a blue-gray that was close to the true color of Ezio's robes was pretty hard, but I think I got close enough. After finishing the fine details on the edges of his cloak, this figure was finished. However, I felt like he was missing something. A detailed figure like this is deserving of a display base, and what better location to recreate than the wooden ledge Ezio walks out on at Masyaf at the beginning of Revelations. Using multiple reference pictures from the game, I started constructing this pier with a wooden plaque I found at the dollar bill store, some balsa wood, and some XPS foam. Using a hot wire cutter, I cut out a block of XPS foam. I textured the foam with a 3D printed rolling pin, a pen, and a ball of aluminum foil. Using a hobby knife, I cut the balsa wood to size and textured it using a pen and wire brush. Then, I began hot gluing together the pieces of balsa wood. To make the pieces of wood look older and more weathered, I used my hobby knife to shape away sharp corners and create various divots and gouges. After gluing the balsa wood to the foam wall, I drilled 3 holes into the base so I could anchor down the wall with some wooden dowels. I was afraid if the wall wasn't anchored down, the weight of the figure on top of the pier would cause the whole piece to collapse. I cut out holes in the foam for the dowels to snugly fit in, and then hot glued everything together. Since spray primer tends to eat away at foam, I primed the base using a mix of black acrylic paint and matte Mod Podge. Then it was on to painting. For the base, I used Apple Barrel acrylics and black and brown washes. To further the weathered look, I dry brushed the rocks with whites and grays and the wood with light browns and tans. To finish off the snowy look of Masyaf, I added some snow texture paint. Using jewelry string, I tied miniature ropes around Ezio's hands and neck, and called this project complete.